Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are discussing about the most dangerous topic, that is this city creation. And in this, basically, we are talking about the 20 percentage error, basically, and 200 people error, and the Sunil Nair stories error, basically. And in this, basically, the 11 parts divided of the Earth planet, earthquakes equal to incidents. That is the most dangerous topic that we will discuss later on, basically, because that is the most dangerous. It might possible that when we are discussing this, that might possible that basically Asian land basically might be getting separate from the Earth planet. That type of thing also basically is possible, basically. That's why we'll discuss later on basically these 11 parts. In these 11 parts, basically one of the part is Asia part, Asia land part, which is getting divided from the Earth planet part, basically, and set of activity happens. What are that activities, basically we have already discussed. That are basically the few set of activities, but in real basically thousands of activities might be happening, basically thousands of activities. Few people says that when the European country was just started, basically started means just they basically from sea, basically it was just few land basically was creation just started. That time up to that level, basically the things basically gets separate. That might be some, there might be some reason, basically universal reason, basically. What is that? This each and everything basically we are going to discuss later on. But up to that level, basically the separate happens. For example, to 80,000 years before, basically the European basically European land basically was created from sea area, basically, that is through the lava blast. In this basically 3 lakh 70 3 lakh 50,000 planet energy basically was used, and lava blast was happened with the help of the satellites, and satellite group basically passed around 3 lakh 70 3 lakh 50,000 energy, that is the planet energy data. On the base of that, basically the European land creation started. So that 3 lakh 50,000 basically satellite connection also gets breaks, gets separates in this Asia land, basically. So up to that level things basically are connected. So this land separation basically connects to the universe level also, basically. So that's very dangerous, basically. So that also basically we are going to discuss how basically that happens, basically. Yeah, that's why basically 20 percentage error basically somebody is trying to solve, and mostly basically solving in real dangerous way, basically. But mostly basically as the time will pass, the error is going to increase. That is 100% reason. For example, my blood cells basically, that is keeps on processing, keeps on processing, keeps on processing, right? This gets end, basically. This gets end basically when Sunil Nair is going to die, basically. That day only this blood cells process basically stops, no, basically. Other than basically blood cells process stops, basically. That basically never stops, basically. For example, I got heart attack, or basically I got a brain tumor, basically, or basically I got a brain cancer. That time basically the blood cells little bit basically gets effect. Otherwise, basically on the day of the last day, that is the Sunil Nair's last day, that day only basically the blood cells is going to stop doing the process, basically. So Earth planet basically never stops the, sorry, Earth planet human basically blood cells basically that never basically gets stops, basically. On last day of uh, blood cells basically never get stops, basically, right? That is the thing. That's why basically the process also basically never gets stops. That's why the error also basically never gets stops, basically. The 20 percentage education error basically keeps on increasing, keeps on increasing, keeps on increasing. The only way is the city creation has to be created of the 20 percentage error, and that basically keeps on increasing. But error will also basically keeps on increasing. Reason the blood cells basically is which is already generated. For example, MBA blood cells is generated, MTech, MCA, ME, this, that, basically BCom, MCom. These all blood cells is already generated basically. So 20% error keeps on generating. That will never stop basically. Other thing basically which you can do, that is the other side creation basically step has to be created basically. There are many ways basically actually. When this 11 parts basically divide basically we are going to talk basically. That day basically we are going to talk that a 20 percentage error basically which is getting finished and which is basically getting used actually. So basically 20 percentage error is there, that is basically getting solved. In this basically we are discussing about one topic, that is this basically. This error basically, this is actually not error basically. This is the way basically somebody is asking for something basically. So here basically he asked, talk happened. If positive talk, then positive impact. If negative talk, then negative impact. Same way basically each and every country basically, this energy basically, that is this, going to interact with each and every country according to the things basically, the impact going to happen basically. In this basically we were discussing about my story basically, that was one Kannur girl basically example I have taken, that basically that example we have already taken. In this basically another, that was Sunila Nair sent the resume to many companies and there was no response, and up to what level the things was basically discussed, that also basically we have discussed, right? Now basically here is this basically, this also basically we have discussed, that is, and this is actually very dangerous actually, it's not so easy basically. Lots of people says that Microsoft just need to create the 37 words only, no basically, nothing else basically they have to do. But to create words equal to what basically? Words equal to city creation basically. Cities creation equal to words basically. And that word is going to be create set of human needs basically. And that human needs basically will be used by the 22 blood cells. 22 blood cells group basically. So that's not so easy task basically. So lots of people says, might be thinking that basically 38 blood cells is all, sorry, 38 word is only the create basically, just we will type and we will just create. It's not like that basically. That how basically word cells basically gets create, that basically we have discussed already in the topic basically. So these groups are the most dangerous group basically, that are Oxford group basically, Oxford dictionary groups basically. This groups knows basically how the combination happens, how the heart attack happens, how the blood cancer happens, how the brain cancer happens, how the eye cancer happens, how the skin cancer happens, how the stomach cancer happens, how basically the things are working, this, that, basically each and everything basically we have already discussed basically. So Oxford groups have the data basically in their software basically. So Oxford group basically, if they can create big software company, then basically their software company also might be very big only basically. It would not be the small software company basically. Their software group also basically might be very big level group basically. It might not be small level group basically. If they can give the words to Microsoft company, Accenture company, Cognizant company, Infosys, SAP, IBM, TCS, then basically their company basically might be, their company basically, the sorry, Oxford U group basically company might be how much big basically, you can just imagine. They are giving the words basically to these companies. So this company itself basically how much big it is, how much big Microsoft is basically, top 20 top 20 richest person basically is Microsoft group basically. Accenture is also like that only basically, this group basically, Infosys, this all group basically. So you can just imagine basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.